Hello and welcome to the stream, to the last stream of SepTandy. So as usual, I'm going to be playing games for the Tandy Color Computer, which was the first computer or first game system in general that I ever had as a kid, and which I haven't actually played anything for quite a while since I got an emulator set up for it, and parents sold my original one back when we got our first PC. So we've played a few games for the Coco already, and one trend that has really made itself apparent is that there are a lot of clone games on the Coco. A lot of developers would just take a look at whatever arcade or console game was popular and make their own version, but without getting the actual license, because a lot of the big game developers just the Coco wasn't on their radar, so they weren't licensing games for that. So clone developers had to make. There were some exceptions, like with Zaxxon, but that was generally the case. But sometimes you get something totally original. Sometimes you get something that is completely completely unique, not infringing on copyright in any way. Something like this. See, no one could possibly object to this. This is clearly something completely unique, completely original to the Coco. Seriously though, this is Return of the Jet Eye, not Jedi, Jet Eye. And I played this game a lot because I really liked the arcade Star Wars game, and I didn't have a home version of that. And Return of the Jedi is sort of what you watch when you can't watch Star Wars, and this game is what you play when you can't. So. It is actually a pretty good game. So you're on this bike of some sort, possibly some sort of speed-oriented bike. Who knows? In some sort of forest, maybe on a planet or maybe on a moon. Who knows? Because obviously, this isn't related to any existing franchise. Shoot, you got these furry guys that you can collect. I don't know what they're called. You got these troopers of some sort that you can smash into trees, and if they get ahead of you, you can shoot them with your laser. We're on level 1. So it is kind of slow pace at the moment. You get extra points for collecting the Ewoks. I'll call them the Ewoks because we all know that's what they are. But now, while this obviously is ripping off the Star Wars IP, it is, for the most part, I think, an original game. There was a ZX Spectrum game called like Death Chase or something like that that's similar to this, but it's not quite the same. So they were both released in 1983, so I don't know if there was any going. But okay, we finished the forest stage. Now we're going into the shield generator, which apparently we can just ride our speeder bikes right into. Now the shield is down. Rebels can do their attack. And then it just continues like that, because it's a game from the 80s, and that's kind of how they work. They would go over fairly set of circumstances. But it is a pretty fun game. Of course, now we got more stormtroopers to deal with, more Ewoks to collect, trees. And I've mentioned before on previous streams that the joysticks for the Coco were analog. Depending on how far you push the stick, it would register differently. And the problem with that was that they didn't automatically center. So that was an issue with a lot of games that you wanted to not move. You had to very precisely position the stick so it would be in the middle. But and a lot of games just didn't really take advantage of the fact that it was analog. For a lot of these streams, I've been basically playing in digital. I have my gamepad set to swap the analog and D-pad so that I can have the pad interpreted as the analog stick, and that was the best way to play these games. But this game actually uses the analog controls, and it actually feels pretty good. There's a bit of momentum. It feels good to control this bike. Rounds I'm going to go through, but I'm still having fun. I don't know how much commentary I'll be able to provide at this point, because I've said basically everything I have to say about this game. But I'm still having fun playing it, so I'm going to keep playing it. And I haven't played Death Chase on the ZX Spectrum. I haven't really played the ZX Spectrum at all. I don't think I've ever set up I can do that at some point in the future, but that's the sort of thing, I'd want to have an audience for that. I think, playing a system that, there are definite flaws to the ZX Spectrum. It's very choppy. The color's weird. I think if I wanted to play that I would have to have, it is harder to play these things without an audience, and I think if I were to play ZX Spectrum games, it would have to be after I develop an audience on this channel, which hopefully will happen at some point. Hasn't really happened yet. Let me take a look. No, first yet. Hopefully that'll happen at some point. In the meantime, viewership has been going up a bit on YouTube. The SepTandy tag seems to have helped me there. Getting usually a couple of views per day, which isn't a lot, but it's more than I was getting before, where I'd go weeks almost without a single view. The videos that I uploaded, the 3 videos that I uploaded for SepTandy, the indie game that I was playing, none of those got a single view until after SepTandy started. The third one now has a few views, but those all happened after I'd already started uploading SepTandy videos. So SepTandy has been good for this channel. Hopefully I'll keep a bit of viewership over the next couple of months. I'll be doing December this year, so that hopefully will provide another boost. I started my stream in December, though I wasn't uploading to YouTube yet at the time. But I did get a couple of raids during that time. It wasn't enough to make my stream reach the critical mass where it would have a consistent audience, which, as you can tell by the fact that I've got no viewers right now. But maybe this year will be the big moment. Get enough viewers to have a few people in the chat at any given time. Get affiliated. Certainly be nice. Really get this show on the road. But I think just the fact that I have been uploading to YouTube the past few months has helped, because with Twitch, if you're not big enough to get an audience, you're not going to get an audience, because Twitch really provides no means to build your audience if you're at 0. Whereas YouTube, it has an algorithm. The algorithm isn't always friendly to new users, to new creators, but at least it exists. At least I can get my videos recommended occasionally to people. Looking at my analytics, my impressions have gone up. I mean, they skyrocketed on my first SepTandy video. That had like hundreds of impressions, and I guess YouTube saw that not enough people were actually watching them when they recommended it, so they scaled that down. But still, I'm still getting a few dozen a day. Hopefully I can grow from there. I think I might have kind of maxed out the SepTandy audience, but SepTandy's over now. This is the last week of it, and I'll be moving on to something else. I'm still not entirely sure what it's not that I don't have any ideas. I do have quite a few ideas, but I just keep changing my mind. So, for a while, I had one game in mind that thought I would be definitely doing when SepTandy was over, but then looked at kind of analytics for it, and because I do still have to pay attention to those things. I really wish I could just play whatever I wanted to play and have an audience, but I don't have an audience, and I got to do what I need to do to try to build one. And the game I had in mind, just looking at various analytics, I don't think it would have drawn in much of an audience. The game I'm thinking of playing now still isn't exactly a huge main thing. It's still basically an indie thing, but it might do a little bit better, and I think it would be a little bit more of an interesting game to play without an audience, because the first game I was playing is kind of a strategy game, kind of a creative game that would be really nice to be able to play, taking suggestions from an audience, but since I don't have an audience, that's not an option. But this other game should be fun just on its own. More of a linear kind of action adventure type thing. But I don't want to say what it is because I might change my mind. I've changed it a few times. I had a more mainstream game in mind for a little while, but I thought I'll save that until I'm at least have the potential to build an audience, because if I play it in stuff, then it's kind of wasted. But if I play it when I'm starting to build an audience, then it could put me over the hump. And if I didn't have to care about these things, and hope to reach a point where I can just play all the weird, obscure stuff and all the weird, obscure stuff I want to, and still keep an audience for that. But that day has not yet come. But if you want to make that day come quicker, if you're watching on YouTube, give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave a comment, do all those things to help boost me in the algorithm, because just one will help. Because with how little traffic my channel is getting right now, just one person would make a huge difference. I have gotten a few likes. I've had my first comment on a SepTandy video. It was from Curtis Spoyle, who is one of the key figures in cocoa preservation. So that was kind of neat that my first comment came from him. But the more engagement, the better, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to get a conversation going. Even if I can't get one going in the Twitch chat yet, if I can get one going in the YouTube comments, that would be pretty great too. Now this is actually starting to get a bit difficult. Speed has gone up, which is impressive. Like, there weren't many of this kind of 3D-ish game on the Coco. The perspective is pretty good. The speed is pretty good. Obviously, there's not much detail, but that Death Chase or Death Bikes or whatever it was called on the ZX Spectrum, the footage of that I've seen was a lot choppier than this. It was more detailed. But I'd prefer a smooth game with less detail than a choppy game with a lot of detail. So, and it's also just kind of impressive that this came out in 1983, because this would have taken some effort to program. This kind of 3D game on the Coco. So I don't know if the developer already had a kind of a forest chase game in mind that they just rethemed for Star Wars when Return of the Jedi had a speeder bike chase in it, or if they just were able to get one out that quickly, even though it's a fairly impressive feat of programming. But whatever the case, this is actually a pretty good game. Now, I don't know what level I was on, and I don't know what 2 players is in this game. Sure, I played it in 2-player mode as a kid, but maybe it's just alternate player after another, but I don't remember if it's co-op or not, and I can't really test that here since I don't have anyone else to be player 2. But let's see what level 14 is like. Oh, wow. Okay, I had not made it up to this level. Yeah, this is not going to last very long, I don't think. But one thing I've noticed, this game has a health bar, which we were talking about not on the Cashman stream, on the Donkey Kong stream, but about the Cashman stream, was that it had a health bar in 1983, and the kind of acknowledged first game to use a health bar was Dragon Buster, released in 1984. So here's another game that beat Dragon Buster to the punch. Now, maybe you can argue these are just lives because there's a set number of them. Like each hit I take takes off a set amount of life, and there doesn't seem to be anything that would take off more or less of the health bar. But it's not respawning me. It's just letting me go. I'm taking damage, but oh, and really, Star Wars had a health bar. The Star Wars arcade game had a health bar. It had that shield meter. So that whole business with Dragon Buster being the first game with a health bar, that was never the case to begin with. Star Wars, the arcade game, was released in 1983. So I don't know if either of these games, if either this or Cashman beat it to the punch, but I know Star Wars beat Dragon Buster. Just another case where the commonly held, or at least the Wikipedia version of video game history is flat out wrong, which happens a lot. The people who've kind of taken upon themselves to chronicle the history of video games aren't very good at their jobs, especially when Nintendo's involved. The usual strategy is to just think of whatever the oldest Nintendo game was to do a certain thing and just act as if that was the first one to do it. The health bar is an exception to that, obviously, but yeah, video game history, good place. But it's kind of why streams like this are interesting, because we can discover all these things that a Wikipedia search wouldn't tell us. Let's see if this is a bit more, but I still don't think this is as far as I got in my first playthrough. I don't think I got to level 10. I think this will be my last attempt at this, or move on to something else. As usual, I'll be playing a few arcade-ish type games in the first part of the stream, and then moving on to an adventure game. And this will be the second stream for Coco Zone. I've revised my map for that, so the first floor is basically fully mapped now. Be exploring the second floor a bit more. It's the Ewok. Maybe I should play Dragon Buster. It does seem like a kind of clear side-scrolling. I don't know if it's an action RPG, but it's certainly inspired a lot of action. I don't know if it actually has RPG mechanics, but its gameplay style is very similar to stuff like Zelda 2 or Xanadu, Wonder Boy, the later ones that had more RPG mechanics. So, it would be a neat to look at. But I don't think it's, I don't think it would bring in a lot of viewers on its own, so it again would have to be something that I'd have to wait until I have a consistent audience. I'd like to be able to play old game, historically significant games that maybe a lot of people haven't played and introduce people to them as I introduce myself to them, but no one's watching, then I can't introduce these to anybody. So like, share, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, maybe tune in to the live broadcasts. Broadcasts every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Play the really weird stuff that nobody cares about. That's what you can look forward to. All right. Now let's move on to the next game. Now this game I think is originally the Coco. I haven't heard of any other port of this game or any other system that it was on. It's one of the true classics that you can, true exclusives to the Coco. You can only get this on the Tandy TRS-80 Color Computer. And it is red. Of course I do. Play Outhouse without a joystick. And there's our Outhouse. And this is a fairly straightforward game. You got a fairly typical setup. You're a UFO. You're flying around an outhouse. You gotta shoot people. If they make it to the outhouse, they'll, well, I'll show you what happens. Well, you'll see what happens when the game speeds up and I'm not able to, well, you might actually see. There. Made it to the outhouse, and now he's got toilet paper in his bumhole. So we can't have that, so we gotta shoot the guy so that he's not stealing all of our toilet paper. Perfectly normal game. The kind of timeless classic that it's just universal experience. It's a pretty good game, though. Oh, can't run into the outhouse. That kills me. Actually, let me see what happens if I do play this analog. I'm playing it digital. I assume that it really only works digitally, but yeah, it acts as if it's digital even if I'm playing it analog. Just takes like the closest of the 8 digital directions. Oh wow. I didn't know that my outhouse could be destroyed. Well, I think that's kind of the point of this game, though, is that you're defending the outhouse, defending it from the laser beams, defending it from the people with the toilet paper in their bumholes. I have no idea what thought process goes into games like this, but I'm glad someone thought of this, because this is the sort of thing you could only get on home. Sort of thing could never make it. Could never get the Nintendo seal of quality. Neither could Return of the Jedi. I don't think Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi game could have. LJN made one of those. Or no, actually, I don't think the LJN series ever made it. The third movie. Return of the Jedi certainly would have worked on the NES. We would have lost a great piece of video game history if they didn't have the option of these kind of completely unlicensed computer platforms. Like I've said in earlier streams, the common assumption is that video game crash in 1983 happened because there weren't enough restrictions on the games that were made. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's just that people get tired of kind of single-screen arcade games that were being made on consoles at the time, and I mean this is one of those. But at a certain point, they're just you played enough of those. You don't need to buy the next one. And games became popular again when they started making them with scrolling environments, and so that the goal was less just to get a high score and more to see what was around the next corner, what was in the next level, because the games could have varied levels, varied environments, varied graphics sets, and they could even have stories and such. And that's one of the reasons why home computers were still doing well during this period, is because they had those kind of long-form games. They had adventure games, they had RPGs, whereas console games at the time, they had a couple of those, stuff like Adventure or Venture by XCD, which is a different game. But for the most part, it was just arcade games and games that really could have been arcade games. They're fun. I do enjoy that kind of game from time to time, but after a while, you just get tired of it. That's what happened in 1983. Started getting systems with scrolling graphics that were more geared towards long-form content, better geared towards playing at home. Video games became interesting. It had nothing to do with games not having enough restrictions. That was just Nintendo swooping in for their own benefit. I've been hearing a lot of complaints about Nintendo lately, and I agree with a lot of them. The one thing I don't agree with is the idea that they've changed, because they haven't. Nintendo was always like this. People are just starting to notice now with Switch 2 and the things that they're doing on that, with the lawsuits that they're doing. Developers, they were always extremely lawsuit happy. Nintendo has not changed. People are just noticing now. Bonus roll. I don't know what that means. Yeah, it was an extra life. I'm gonna let one of those guys get the toilet paper in his bunghole and make it all the way to the edge of the screen, because I want to know what happens when. Sure, I've seen it happen before. Okay, it didn't kill me. Let's see, does it reduce my score at all? Or... Maybe I'm supposed to be letting. Okay. 7. There's a counter at the bottom of the screen. It's going down. No enemies are spawning. I think I am supposed to kill these guys, but I want to know what happens if I don't. If I run out of toilet paper, what happens? Close. Oh, game over. So yeah, I do need to preserve my toilet paper. So that seems to be the goal of this game, is to protect the toilet paper. I need my TP for my bunghole. Can't let any of these other people steal my TP. Luckily, my outhouse seems to be immune to laser blasts, so that's good. And that's the sort of phrase that will never come up in any other game. Only hear that kind of that phrase will only be relevant. Get on. I think you can. I haven't looked into it as much. Should have researched this game before the stream. It turns out this game was on other systems, or is it cloned or something on other systems. I'm not sure what I'll do, since this is my last SepTandy stream. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep talking about the SepTandy games on other streams, because people watching the YouTube VODs for those probably won't have watched the SepTandy VODs, but maybe I'll post it on Mastodon, because that's if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, my Mastodon account is in my profile. That's where I post any kind of news on this channel or on the game that I'm working on, Res Extensa. So if you want to keep up on news regarding me, you can follow that. Or you can subscribe to its RSS feed if you don't want to actually get a Mastodon account. Every Mastodon feed is automatically an RSS feed. You just gotta add .rss to the end of its URL. Oh, bonus roll. That's a bonus roll of toilet paper. That must be what they're talking about. I don't know what that blue thing is. At the top of the screen, I've got 3 blue things. Now, there's only one joystick button. I assume, well, it asked me if I wanted to use keyboard, right? And I said no. So I assume there's no keyboard commands on this. Not like, you know, I have to, oh, game over. Let's give this one more try. don't think this is one of those games that has like one command down to the joystick button and another to spacebar or enter or something like that. I think it's all just on the joystick. And maybe that 3 blue things is for player 2. Now, I had kind of thought maybe I'd only be playing these 2 games this stream, but I don't think. And then returning to Coco Zone for the 2nd hour, but I don't think I'll be able to finish out the first hour of the stream just playing this game, because we've already kind of seen everything there is to see. So, but I do have another game kind of waiting in the wings that I can play. So for the last 20 minutes, so that won't be a problem. I think I'll research this a little bit on the break before I start playing Coco Zone again. Game over. I don't even know what killed me that time. Did one of the lasers destroy my outhouse? Well, I've maxed out the high score table. Oh, and my last score was my highest score. I guess I am getting better at this game. But that'll be the end of Outhouse for today. So let's set this. Okay, I just wanted to see that tutorial screen. There were things like crushers and stuff that we never even saw. So I guess if I was better at this game, then we would see a few more things. Now this is kind of a Pac-Man type game, but obviously, as you can see, it does have its own unique aspects, but mostly the fact that the map is absolutely huge, but it magnifies a small portion of it. And one thing about this game is that I did play it a lot when I was a kid, but I always played to lose, because I'll show you what happens. And I might, I think these are the wrong colors, so I'm going to put the artifact colors. I don't know which ones are correct. The colors on the cocoa are so abstract that it's tough to tell, but see if we can find one of the bugs. Oh, there we are. We gotcha! That's why I always played to lose, because back in the 80s, back when this game was new, just the idea of hearing an actual English voice from your computer was such a novelty that I just played this game just for that. Although now I'm going to play it to actually win. We've already heard the voice, and hearing a voice from your computer is not that special anymore. I'm pretty sure you're hearing a voice from your computer right now, unless you're watching this on a phone or on your TV or on whatever other device you use for watching Twitch or YouTube or service you're watching this on. Now this game is not unique to the Coco. This is another clone, I think, but in this case it's not a clone of an arcade game. It's a clone of a game for the Apple II called Dung Beetle, which is basically the same. Or was it Dung Beetle? Doodlebug or something? I did research this, but I forget what I researched. But in any case, this is not a Coco original. And I think the bugs, whether they're following my trail affects their speed. I don't know if they get faster or they get slower, but I know it makes a difference. Oh no, I wasn't trying to do that. But yeah, the trail I leave has an effect on what the bugs do, but I don't know exactly. Oh. I really should be watching the larger map. I haven't been. I've just been watching the wide map. Let's see if we can clear at least one of these maps on this stream. Oh no! We gotcha! I missed my turn. Or maybe the trails make me faster. But I know they have an impact. And as the bugs go over them, they make the trails disappear. Doesn't seem the same speed over my trail as I do collecting white dots. But maybe it's a different speed when I'm not collecting white dots. Only one way to find it. I didn't notice any speed difference. always played this game to lose. Skilled at it. Experience. And this was the closest thing to a Pac-Man game that I had. Well, the closest thing to a Pac-Man game. Coco. I've actually been kind of lying a little. I've been saying it's the first game system I ever owned. It's the first system that was capable of playing multiple. But I did have one of those Coleco tabletop arcade Pac-Man. That was actually pretty fun. You look at it now and you think, oh, it's just these. Oh no! We gotcha! Looks so inaccurate to the arcade game. It's these kind of like an LCD game, but lit up instead of. But for me, that was a pretty fun game. I think eventually we also got Donkey Kong at a yard sale, but the Pac-Man was a better game. Which I kind of realized during that stream where I played the Donkey Kong game. I said Donkey Kong does not hold up. Things like the fact that the hammer, your big bonus item, means that you gotta wait around until it goes away because you can't progress. You know, you can't climb ladders and move to the floor whereas clearly it was inspired by the power pellet in Pac-Man, but the power pellet in Pac-Man actually enhanced the game. It wasn't just an excuse to stop you. Oh no. Okay. Is this a one-way? Okay, no, there's a loop. So, let's see. Can I? Yeah, alright. I leave a trail behind even when I'm not collecting. So. Maybe the other bugs follow that trail. Maybe if I. Oops, they'd be able to stop them from chasing me. Maybe this is a stealth game. Maybe this is the first stealth game. No, I don't think there was a game in the 70s called Shoplifter, or technically qualifies as the first stealth game. Definitely wasn't Metal Gear. That's the one thing we can be sure about. Not in stealth genre. That the video game historian people say that it's the game that they'd heard of. It's the game that's advertised in G.I. Joe comics, so it's the game they give credit to. Ooh, academic rigor. History. Actually seen a video from one of the more prominent video game history people that he was actually playing a stealth game that predated Metal Gear, and he said, oh, this laid the groundwork for Metal Gear to later come around and properly. Now, Metal Gear Solid, I'll give credit to, because even though it obviously didn't invent the genre, because it wasn't even the first in its franchise, it was popular enough that it spawned a lot of imitators. So it's what made stealth a popular genre. It's why, well, I'm not even sure if we can give it total credit for that because Thief came out the same year, but it certainly is a big part of the reason why stealth is a big genre now. But so there's kind of two ways to be the pioneer in your genre: to actually be the first one to invent a mechanic, or be the one that inspired imitators. But the first Metal Gear didn't really inspire much in the way of imitators. I don't think it's a failure of a game. It got sequels, but there wasn't a big boom in stealth games in the late 80s. But there obviously was one in the 90s after Metal Gear Solid came out. So it deserves credit. Metal Gear Solid was pretty. Oh no! We gotcha! It was close. I thought I'd make it that time. Sort of like with the real-time strategy, people say like why, or they are real-time games that could be qualified as strategy games, but really, you know, when Dune 2 came out, that's when people started imitating. That's when it became a genre. Like first-person shooters, Wolfenstein 3D wasn't even id Software's first-person shooter. If you look at stuff like Catacomb 3D, it's basically the same except in EGA. So even their own formula didn't originate with Wolfenstein 3D, but after Wolfenstein 3D, we started seeing stuff like Ken's Labyrinth. We started seeing stuff like Blake Stone, and then of course Doom blew the lid off the whole thing. So you can give credit to something that inspired imitators. You can give credit to something that genuinely did something first. But so many of the video game history people just give credit to whatever they had played first. Safe? Okay. Probably some strategies on how. Oh! We gotcha! Probably some strategies on how to leave a trail to keep those enemies from following me, but I don't know what those strategies are, and I probably won't be able to figure them out in the next 5 minutes. So we hit the 1 hour mark on this stream. I'm going to be taking a break, and then we're going to be moving on. Oh no. We gotcha! Okay, let's see what this guy does. Oh, I'm gonna regardless. I have not updated my overlay. But for that, I'll update it for Coco. Still saying Return of the Jedi, and if I had viewers, that would be a problem. But I don't have viewers, and I usually crop out the overlay for the for the YouTube VOD. Exception is I have people actually chatting, but nobody's chatted this. that overlay is not going to be seen by a whole lot of people this time around. Just people watching on the Twitch VOD, which you tend to get a couple of views on that, but I don't know if they're actual people or if they're just bots. If you do watch the Twitch VOD, I don't know. Tune into the next stream and tell me in the chat, or leave a message on one of my YouTube videos. Go into YouTube and put my videos on there and leave them there, or just somehow get in touch with me and tell me that yes, I am. Good to know. Right now, I'm kind of assuming bots. This will be my last attempt for today. Okay, good. I turned around. Oh. Button doesn't seem. Maybe this is why. To win. Does get a little bit tedious. How big the map is. It really isn't all that much. Power pellets or very up to around collecting the dots and the bugs. I've ever cleared. I did. I can't hear the voice clip of them saying, "Bee, gotcha." Oh no, I'm dead. Bee, gotcha. Yes, you got me. So yeah, that's it for Mega-Bug. Gonna take a short break, drink some water, and then I'll be back with Coco's on, and maybe we can get that game finished today.